What's up, guys? Kaijudoyoshi here. I have a mono water deck profile today. This deck's pretty cool. I'm really, like I said before, water is my favorite civilization. So mono water is something that I wanted to build for a pretty long time now. This deck isn't its full potential because I don't actually have any Emperor Neurons. But yeah, if you have Emperor Neurons, definitely throw them in here, because that will make this deck a lot better than the one I'm about to show you. The deck I'm about to show you is still really good, though. Alright, so to start off, I've got 3 Cyber Sprites. Awesome turn 1 play. Combos really well in the later turns, where you can like drop this and drop something else. Protect yourself. Of course, you could, like in the earlier turns, it stops stuff like Blaze Belchers and Magresses and other rush kind of cards. It also stops Lava Leaper, which is a new card, which is pretty annoying, and I like that this card can stop that. Alright, continuing, I've got 3 Refis. I don't like this. This would definitely be one of the first cards I'd cut to make room for Emperor Neurons. Only because you already have enough blockers in this deck, and the other 2 blockers are better than this in my opinion. So yeah, it's still not a bad card though. It can stop stuff like Seneschal and Razorhide, but I don't know. I think this was good for like Rise format, but now that we're at Evo Fury, I think this card is outclassed by other cards. 3 Cyber Traders, a really good turn 2 play to allow you to just get your deck going, start running through cards, get rid of the bad cards in your hand, and if you're running Neuron, you can go turn 2, drop this, turn 3 Neuron, or you can go turn 5, drop this, and then use the other 3 mana to drop Neuron in the same turn, which is a pretty good play. Alright, 3 Reef Gladiators, like the main reason why this deck is playable. Reef Gladiator is like such an amazing blocker. It's like a Frogzuka on steroids. This card is amazing. 6,000, draw a card every time you block, 3 drop. This card is absolutely amazing. No drawbacks to this. Amazing card. If you're running mono water, you have to run 3 of this, or otherwise you're doing something wrong. Alright, I'm running 3 Seneschals because honestly I would consider cutting this down to 2 if I was running Neurons, but I don't have Neurons, so I'm running 3 of this. Still really good card. Awesome on its own. Gets over a lot of stuff. Even crashing with this is pretty good, because you still get the +1 and stuff. And it's just great Evo bait. And when you power it up, it can be really helpful. Or when you get it powered up using other stuff, which I'll be showing later, it can run over a lot more stuff, which makes it a lot more useful. 3 Rusalkas. I'm not really a huge fan of this card either. That's the only thing I don't like about Water. I really am not a huge fan of bouncing cards. I think it's not very good. That's like one of the problems with this deck. It doesn't actually have answers to huge threats. Like if they drop a Bolt Tail on you, you're in trouble. That's one of the things I'm not a huge fan of about this deck. I think that if there's a way to remedy that, this deck could be a lot better. But yeah, I mean, you can bounce it back to your opponent's hand, but they can just re-drop it and stuff. But yeah, so now that I'm done going over the weaknesses, Rusalka is basically an out to anything. It's kind of necessary at this point, because there's really not that many cards you should be playing over it, but I think that Rusalka is a pretty decent card at this point of the game. Alright, I've got 3 Finbars. Finbar is absolutely amazing, because one thing that this deck has problems with, or at least another thing, is Barrage. Literally everything in this deck, except for like the finishers, are going to get hit by Barrage. Even the finishers do. Like I'm looking through my deck right now, and literally every card in this deck, except for the blockers, get hit by Barrage. And that's a huge problem for this deck. You don't want to be going to a tournament being like, I really don't want to play versus any fire decks. That's a problem. You want to be able to be like, okay, I can play versus any deck, no matter what it is, and I'll still win. And yeah, Finbar is really good because it boosts everything. It makes stuff like Cyber Sprite a 1-drop 4,000 blocker. That's amazing. It makes Seneschal 4,000 run over anything. It makes other stuff bigger too, which I'll get into later, I guess. But yeah, it makes Cyber Trader 3,000. It makes a lot of stuff stronger. If you have 2 of these on the field and they're both at 4,000, basically Barrage does nothing to you anymore. So like, you pretty much don't have to worry about that from there. Obviously, if you just have 1 of these on the field, if they have 2 barrages, they could still get through your field but they have to have 2. That's not very likely, or at least a lot less likely than them having at least 1. Alright, continuing, I've got 2 Hydro Spies. I think this card's decent now. Mono Water. Like I said, there's not really that many better things to put in here. I was thinking about trying out Hokira, but I don't know. I'm not really a huge fan of Hokira. Like, drawing cards is cool and all, but this deck already has enough draw power in the forms of other stuff. Hokira is, like, amazing. It gives you pluses, like, literally every turn, but I don't know how I feel about it. Hydro Spy, it works well on its own. You don't have to combo it with other cards, so, yeah. 2 Reef Prints, basically search for whatever you need whenever you want it. Really good card. Yeah, I'm fine with 2. Also with Finbargo's at the 4,000. And 2 Milporos. Milporos awesome versus certain decks for just like returning stuff. It can, like, if you have 2 of these in hand, it's like drop 1, stall your opponent for a turn, drop 1, stall your opponent for a turn, and it's just like now you have like 2 more things that you can attack with. It's really good. Great against like pretty much most matchups. Not amazing against Rush, only because you probably won't be getting that far against Rush. But if you do drop that card against Rush, it's really good versus them. That's it for the monsters. I believe it's 27. I think this is a 42 card deck. Pretty sure it is. And yeah, let's go to the spells. 3 Ice Blades for bouncing stuff, quick removal. You need as many Shield Blasts as you can. If you're not running any Shield Blasts, you're just going to get blown out by Rush. So Ice Blade is a good card for Rush. If it's in your hand, it's still useful. And of course, it's just a good card overall. 3 Logo Scans. Awesome card. I don't need to explain it. You draw cards with it. 3 Veil Vortex. Another just like, you know, we have to run this card because it's a Shield Blast and it's really good in here. I think that Veil Vortex is also like really good because, like I said before, you don't have that many outs to like huge monsters. You have stuff like Tetsurion the Unchained, Bolgash, Bolt Tail and stuff. But this is an out to all of those. And especially when you're fighting against stuff like Bolgash and Tetsurion the Unchained, these are really good because even if they do drop it again, they're going to have to wait at least 1 more turn to use it. And with the amount of advantage that this deck generates, like there's so many, it's just like +1s like every turn. And it's like when you get later in the game, when you have like 8 mana, you can go like Logo Scan, Cyber Trader. You just do plays like that. So like you're generating like +2s and +3s even at that point. So like the -1s you get from like Ice Blade and Veil Vortex, they don't even matter. And when it's in your Shield Blast, it's not even a minus, which is really good. 2 Spy Missions, more draw power. This is a card I prefer to run over other cards that let you draw cards in this deck, like Thought Probe and stuff, because they're dependent on your opponent having stuff on the field. I mean, Spy Mission is just like you just draw 2. It's a good card at pretty much any point of the game. And I like having this card be reliable at any point. I don't want to draw a card and be like, crap, this card sucks at this point because I can't even do anything with it. 2 Crystal Memories. I think this card's amazing in Water. Being able to search your deck for any card is so good. So it's like you can know what your Shield Blasts are. It's like there's never a bad time to have this card be activated in your Shield Blast because it's like, okay, well, I can get whatever I want now. I can get whatever answer I need to the situation. And it's just an amazing card overall. And then last card I'm running is 2 Aquatic Expulsions. Yeah, just like I said before, you need as many Protection Shield Blasts as you can. This is a really good card versus Rush. I'd probably put it up to 3, just because versus the decks that it's bad against, you can just mana it. But the decks that it's really good against, you can just know that it'll probably be in your Shield Blasts. Of course, you can bounce stuff like Seneschals and other stuff like that too, which can be pretty bothersome to you. And yeah, so that is the Mono Water deck. I think it's a really good deck now. This deck you'll be having huge hands with, which means that you should be careful for stuff like Skull Shatter. But if you can play around stuff like that, you should be fine. This deck's really good, really consistent. It's got a lot of early game plays, and in the late game you can drop multiples of the other guys. And I think that if you have Emperor Neurons and you throw those in here, this deck can be even better. Emperor Neuron's awesome. It's 5,000. It's something that this deck could really use. And yeah, so I hope you guys like the deck. Thanks for watching, and peace.